when things are tough, we could make it a lot easier, but then you're not making it right. So yeah, it'd be boring if it was easy.
Workshop Wisdom is a series of conversations with fellow makers. We ask them to share their learning and insights about life from their time spent in their workshops. This week we chat to maker and Hiut's neighbour Jonny from Garthenor. Garthenor is an independent, family-run design and manufacturer of ethical and certified organic yarns. Tell us about Garthenor.
Yeah, so I'm co-owner. It's a family business, so I'm second generation. Sally started it back in 1999. And we create certified organic and climate positive yarn, mostly for hand knitters, but also for some designers, also for crochet, other makers and things like that. So we work directly with about 50 organic farms all over the UK so that we can make products that are traceable and sustainable. And we recently moved into the space here opposite Hiut, kind of, yeah, expanding what we do in a big way, but also it's still in a small and kind of purposeful way as well.
Tell us a bit about the workshop.
Yeah, so up until this year, we filled half a dozen or so barns on the farm. So Garthenor is the name of our farm, and we kind of made the decision that it was time to grow and kind of make a space that worked a little bit more efficiently. We were kind of looking for somewhere, and we'd seen a couple of spaces, but nothing quite leapt out. And then when we came to see here in Cardigan, just the kind of energy of the place really fitted. The fact that there's a textile history to the town and to the building as well. Some of the logistics worked really well. It's way more space than we intended to take on, and we're sort of slowly filling it up, and machines coming in from all over the place. But it's giving us a chance to kind of breathe and grow the things that we do. For a long time, we'd outgrown our space pre-pandemic, really, kind of climbing over everything, and stockroom suddenly isn't big enough, and we weren't able to make enough things. We wanted to grow our team, but there wasn't enough space to do that on the farm. So it was kind of a big reset earlier this year to move into this space, but it's been a learning curve, but it's been really exciting to be able to kind of grow and try things and not be kind of constricted by space.
Incredible. What is a day in the workshop like for you?
It changes pretty much every day, I think, like most small businesses. A lot of the time, so far, we do about half the processes in making a yarn here. We still work with a couple of mills to do some of the other processes. So a lot of the time, it's kind of looking at what's coming up, whether it's new releases, whether it's topping up our own stock, and then getting it on the machines. So we have kind of different machines running each day, whilst we kind of grow into them. We were working on machinery that back at the farm that was tiny scale. Now we've got machines that will do tons a day, which is terrifying but exciting. So it's really varied, but it gives us the chance to really focus in on the quality of what we do, so we're not having to kind of rush it through. So yeah, it's very varied, and we're still a really small team, so we all kind of pick up different aspects, packing orders, replying to emails, generally long days, late nights, that kind of thing. But it's that kind of variety that I love. I couldn't be doing the same thing day in, day out. I'd go insane pretty quickly. So it's a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any rules or rituals when working?
I think because of the variety, not really.
Yeah.
There's nothing that kind of has to happen. We always try and do our best to be purposeful about the making process, not just the finished product, because so much of what we do is rooted in the story of how we make it. We have that connection to the fibre all the way through. So I think kind of the rules are to make sure that we're enjoying actually making what we make rather than just the finished product and seeing it go out into the world. So that's the big one. But in terms of rituals, I'm still a little bit all over the place in terms of my day, so I don't have time to get into any rituals or anything.
I think as well, you've honed in on like transparency, haven't you? Especially with your Transparency Tuesday. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something that we've thought is incredibly important since day one, really. And over the last sort of few months, we've started doing an Instagram Live pretty much every Tuesday, depends slightly what's on the schedule, that we're calling Transparency Tuesday. And it's just the opportunity for our customers and followers to ask literally any questions at all about the industry, about animal welfare, about how we make yarn, farming, kind of all these aspects. And we get the most amazing range of questions through. There's some that are really simple to answer, and there's some that really go in depth, and they either challenge us in terms of our kind of ethics. Wool sometimes gets a bit of a bad rep because there's some misunderstanding about how the fibre is actually produced. Then there's some really technical ones in terms of kind of the specifications and the processes and how we actually make what we make. So it's just been a really kind of inspiring opportunity to have that conversation every week and find out what it is that people want to know. It's so easy to kind of shout out our messaging into the world and you get likes or you get sort of short comments saying love this, but it's actually the opportunity for people to say, why do you do this, or what causes this, and those kind of things. So it challenges me. Most weeks there's something that gives me a bit of a headache, but so far I've just about been able to cover everything. And I think having that approach of nothing is off limits, it gives a peek into the industry. I think so much manufacturing is very closed door. It's an industry that is very, very historic. Lots of people just don't know what happens in terms of making textiles, in terms of making yarn, garments, those kind of things. So it kind of opens that up a little bit to the world.
Incredible. And I know it might be quite hard to listen to anything with all the noise, but do you like to work in silence, or do you tend to listen to a podcast or listen to music? Do you have ways of working? Yeah,
I'm a podcast person. Always got earbuds in under my ear defenders. Couldn't work without it. I try and listen to something like a little bit creative, lots of kind of small business podcasts as well, and then every now and again just something either sports or comedy or something like that lets me just switch off. Sometimes running the machines, if it's giving me a bit of a headache, fixing and kind of working those processes, sometimes it's really nice to just distract myself. So yeah, always something on.
Amazing. Who or what is your inspiration?
Big question. I think naturally we're inspired by kind of place and by where we are. I always try and seek inspiration from outside our industry as well. So whether it's people or brands or processes, we try not to look too much inside the yarn production industry. The big one is place. A lot of our yarn collections and things, either the colours or the inspiration behind making it are rooted in place, whether that's here around where the mills that we worked with, the farms that we work with. So that's always the big source of inspiration behind what we do.
What one thing would make life easier right now?
An extra few hours in every day. I think growing a small business, there's so many things that you want to be able to do and you want to get done, and there's never enough time in the day. Again, it's that thing of steadily growing a small team and trying to do it sustainably. Like every small business, we make mistakes. We don't always go for the right thing and do the right thing. It'd be nice to have a bit more time in the day.
Do you have a quote that you say to yourself repeatedly?
Yeah, anytime it's getting tough, I always remind myself that it'd be boring if it was easy. And sometimes I'm a little bit psychotic as I'm sort of chanting that to myself. But I think it's kind of true. If the right way of doing things was easy, everyone would be doing it, and then you've got nothing to push for. So a lot of what makes what we do difficult is self-imposed with the organic standards, with the environmental kind of concerns that we have and the way that we want to grow our business. So I kind of remind myself, when things are tough, we could make it a lot easier, but then you're not making it right. So yeah, it'd be boring if it was easy, is the one.
If you could recommend a podcast or a YouTube, what would you recommend?
I've just started listening to Adam Grant's podcast, which is talking to various people kind of in the workplace, both small businesses and big businesses as well, about kind of the way that we work. And so far I'm loving that one. The Shopify Masters podcast is another one that is good. It kind of tells the stories of some small businesses and how they've grown and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'd say those are the two at the moment. That's what I've been listening to this morning anyway.
Amazing. And last question, do you have any advice for another maker?
Try and be purposeful. As I kind of touched on, it's really easy to do the easy thing. When you have a purpose behind what you're doing, whether that be a massive mission or just kind of the purpose behind a specific project, it makes it so much more worthwhile when you hit those milestones. We're not a business, and I'm not someone personally that is striving for the fastest growth possible. We're kind of sticking to that purpose and sticking to that mission, and it makes every win just that much better when you know how much it means, in our case environmentally, but whatever the purpose is, stick with that and try and enjoy it. It can be a little bit stressful at times, but yeah, try and enjoy making. It's the best thing.